Alaskan woman's unspoken truth. From shack to 137 million. How this all began at 3 a.m. The dark winter in Alaska had a chill so biting it could wrap itself around your heart. You could feel it in your bones, a long penetrating freeze that seemed to whisper secrets only the wind could understand. But at 3 a.m. under the oppressive weight of night, a strange thud echoed through the frost-bitten trees, awakening the slumber of a woman who had spent her life on the fringes of society. It was Gabrielle. And what she would discover that night would change everything. Her cramped shack, homemade yet sturdy, sat solitary against the seemingly endless wilderness. Shadows danced against the wood walls, and a flickering candle cast an eerie glow. The little home barely shielded her from the brutal Alaskan nights, but she loved it fiercely. Here, among the moth-eaten blankets and wooden splinters, she felt the freedom of a life undesired by the world. But something was wrong this night. Panic surged in her chest when she heard another sound, a rustle, like something dragging through the snow. Her heart raced, hands trembling as she held her breath. Thoughts of bears, wolves, or worse dug into her mind like ice picks. The absolute silence outside seemed to drown out her fear, creating its own scream of desperation. She tightened her grip on the candle, its flickering light illuminating shadows that swirled like phantoms. Then there it was again, another thud. Gabrielle's resolve hardened. She crept to the window, her pulse thrumming wildly. What she would see out there could change everything. But before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. As Gabrielle peeked out, the reality of that icy grip shattered when her breath caught in her throat. There, against the starlit background, was something glimmering. Was it treasure? An ethereal light beckoning her? A shiver raced down her spine. Every instinct screamed for her to turn back, to shut the window, and bury herself in the covers. Yet, a burgeoning curiosity pulled her closer, sparking something deep inside her. What was out there? What did this mean? In the distance she could make out shapes but couldn't tell if they were menacing or enticing. She could hear the crunch of the snow beneath unfamiliar boots, hear the whisper of voices carried by the night air. And as her heart thudded with anticipation, she unknowingly stood at the precipice of a multi-million-dollar mystery, one that began with a single moment of courage at 3 a.m. What was waiting for her beyond that threshold, suffocating her with thrill and dread? As Gabrielle drew the curtain back just a fraction, the world outside seemed to hold its breath. The whisper of the wind mingled with the low murmurs of the figures, wrapping her in a shroud of apprehension and intrigue. Driven by an unseen force, she pressed her forehead against the frosty glass, her breath fogging the view. The glimmer she had seen was not a figment of her imagination but rather a shiny object. What was it? A gun? No. More like a knife reflecting the cold moonlight. The shapes moved slowly, deliberately, intent on something unseen. The unsettling crunch of snow echoed louder, and her heart raced as she took a small step back from the window, barely making a sound. Would they see her? Fear gripped her like a vice. Gabrielle could hardly breathe, drowning in the thick atmosphere of uncertainty. The figures stopped, their shadows morphing under the moon's glow, looming ominously at the edge of her clearing. Thoughts raced through her mind, each more terrifying than the last. Should she bolt? Call for help? Or did she dare to invite the unknown into her solitary existence? Then one of the figures stepped into the light, revealing a face. Gabrielle squinted. It was a man, his expression unreadable but focused. He glanced to the left, then right, as if searching for something or someone. But before she could get a clearer picture, the second figure joined him. They exchanged words, a low dialogue lost against the wind, but the tension hung thick, making her stomach turn. There were 3 of them, all dressed in dark, uninviting attire, hunched against the Alaskan cold. And the glimmering object was no ordinary piece of metal. It was a key. But what did it unlock? Gabrielle's mind raced. Was it a key to a treasure? A safe hidden somewhere within these woods? The possibilities spiraled around her like a blizzard. She had always lived on the fringes, but there was something tantalizingly dangerous about the idea of stepping into this world, of uncovering whatever secret lay beyond the key. Yet, a voice inside urged her to flee, to barricade herself against the impending storm. Above all, there was a thrill she had never known before, a warm spark against the bitter cold of her solitude. In an instant that felt like a lifetime, the first man, the leader, perhaps gestured toward her shack. Instinct took over. Gabrielle backed away from the window, tripping over a chair, falling heavily onto the floorboards. She wanted to scream but bit her tongue, the metallic taste of fear flooding her senses. Silence reigned in the little shack as Gabrielle fought to control her breath. She couldn't shake the feeling that they were coming for her. Was it the key they sought? Or perhaps it was something more. Was she merely a witness to their plan, or a critical player in a gambit far larger than her? And just as she scrambled to gather her thoughts, the door creaked open with a haunting groan, revealing the specter of her choices. Would she confront them? Would she plunge into the mystery at the risk of everything she held dear? The room darkened as the door swung wider, shadows spilling like ink across her life. The situation was spiraling, the uncertainty engulfing her like the frigid air outside. Who would step into her world next, and what role would she play in their story? Heart racing, she gripped the candle, the flickering flame mirroring her uncertainty. Could she find the strength to confront the night ahead? Or would she remain a ghost, trapped in her frozen shack, as fate carved its path into the wild? A startling whisper threaded through the air, hinting at what could unfold next. It was a question chilling and electric. Are you ready to find out the truth? Gabrielle's heart pounded in her chest as the dark figure filled the doorway. The light from the candle flickered, casting twisting shadows across the walls, amplifying the terror gnawing at her insides. She fought the instinct to scream and instead held her breath, desperately trying to anchor herself in the moment. What are you doing here? The leader's deep voice boomed, shattering the silence like glass. His words dripped with menace, sending chills spiraling down her spine. I live here, she stammered, forcing herself to sound brave, but the tremor betrayed her. How did they know about her? How could they know she was there, hidden, trembling in the dark? One of the figures stepped forward, eyes narrowing as he scanned the cramped room. You've got something we need. Something they needed? The key? The very thought made her stomach twist. I don't know what you're talking about, she blurted, a quiver in her voice. But inside, a deep sense of foreboding took root. The leader took a step closer, his imposing form dominating her small space. Don't play games with me, girl. We saw the key. It's important, very important. Why would I give it to you? She challenged, though doubt wrapped tightly around her. His lips curled into a side smile that didn't reach his cold eyes. You see, you're right in the center of something much larger than you can imagine. That key unlocks more than a door. It opens a truth that some would kill for. And we think you might be the only one who can access it. Gabrielle struggled to gather her thoughts. What truth? The fear that had once immobilized her now sparked an odd blend of defiance and fierce curiosity. The warmth of potential adventure pushed against the icy grip of dread, tempting her to step into a world she had only glimpsed. That's why you're here? To threaten me? You think I'm just going to hand it over? She shot back, her voice stronger than before. The others exchanged looks, and the tension in the air crackled. Their confidence, once imposing, faltered at her boldness. But the leader quickly regained his composure. This isn't a threat, Gabrielle. It's an opportunity. Join us and you can unlock the truth together. Resist and, well, let us just say the consequences won't be pleasant. Gabrielle stepped back instinctively, bumping against her table. Uncertainty clawed at her, but buried deep within was a surge of impulsive bravery. What's in it for me? She challenged, his eyes glinted. The shadow of a plan danced across his face. We can offer you a way out. A chance to rekindle the spark you've lost in this isolated world. Think bigger. You could be part of something that shakes this town to its core. Gabrielle's mind raced again. Escape from here, leaving behind her lonely existence. But at what cost? Just as she opened her mouth to reject him, a flash of thunder rumbled in the distance. Time's running out, the leader murmured, urgency creeping into his tone, a tone now laced with desperation. We need you tonight. A new weight settled in the pit of her stomach. What if she held a key to something far more significant than mere memories, something that could change everything? She realized then that the key wasn't just about unlocking doors. It was about unlocking her very existence. Could she miraculously push herself away from her fears and plunge into the abyss of the unknown? Decide now, the leader pressed, sensing the shift in her resolve. Gabrielle felt the world hinge on that moment, a tempest in her heart, a raw urge to break free. The flickering candle dimmed, the shadows closing in. Would she take that leap, or would she let fear chain her to the familiar darkness? As she stood at the crossroad, ready to forge her own truth, a chilling specter of doubt loomed, whispering ominously. Will it be freedom or doom? Gabrielle's head spun. The air thickened with unspoken promises and threats. The shadows undulated around her like waiting predators, ready to pounce. Gabrielle, the leader's voice pulled her from the brink. This is not a game. You have the chance to make a choice that could alter the course of your life forever. The flickering candle cast a warm glow on his face, but the coldness in his eyes chilled her down to her bones. What is it going to be? He pressed, his impatience surfacing. She swallowed hard, her throat dry. Was she really considering this? Each heartbeat echoed in her ears, drowning out the warnings of her instincts. Opportunity or peril, it felt like a coin flip. With reluctant resolve, Gabrielle weighed the risk. I need to know what I'm getting into, she forced out, almost breathless. What do you mean by unlock the truth? The leader straightened, as if her words had carved a distinct line in the air. There is a secret kept by your family, a legacy lost in the shadows. The key you possess opens more than just a door. It opens the vault of their true history. We believe your lineage is intertwined with something powerful. Something powerful. The words hung in the air, swirling with possibility. Gabrielle had always felt an emptiness about her family's past, like there were pieces missing from the puzzle of who she was. Without warning, a loud crash jolted her from her thoughts. The room shuddered, and the flickering light threatened to go out. She turned, eyes darting to the window, and her heart dropped. Outside, a storm was brewing. Winds howled, rain battered against the glass, but something else emerged from the shadows. She could see figures moving through the storm, more than just the three standing before her. A sense of panic flared inside her. You aren't alone. There are more of you, aren't there? She could feel the icy tendrils of fear wrap around her again. No, the leader snapped, his jaw tightening. They're irrelevant. Right now it's just you and me. Focus. His tone sent shivers down her spine, but she stood her ground. If I give this key to you, what happens next? Freedom for you and your family, he promised, though doubt flickered in his voice. A chance to reclaim what has been taken. The storm is closing in, Gabrielle. The time to act is now. You will either stand with us or you will be left behind. Left behind, the implications felt profound. Behind her stood her whole life, stagnant and weary, a life where shadows had tightened their grip day after day. But what lay ahead? An uncertain plunge into legacy, into secrets that might reshape everything she knew. Make your choice, he urged, his voice dropping dangerously low. Join us or refuse. But know this, if you refuse, we can't guarantee your safety. You might go back to a life of silence, but that silence could become your grave. She could practically feel the energy shift, the collective breath of those around her waiting for her response. The tension hummed in the air as reality loomed heavier than the storm raging outside. Gabrielle inhaled deeply, her ribs expanding fiercely, teetering on the edge of her own fate. As another crash of thunder echoed, dark clouds swirling ominously above her, she knew that whatever answer she gave would open doors to paths unimagined, each one walked with its own rippling consequences. Fine, she said, each word a deep plunge into the unknown. I'll help you. But even as the words left her lips, the haunting disquiet within her whispered, will this be the beginning of a new reality or her end? The words hung in the air, heavy with a weight she barely understood. Gabrielle realized just how deep this was going to get. They wanted her to be a part of something bigger, something dangerous. She felt the key in her pocket pulse like a heartbeat. The leader's smile was quick, sharp. Good. It's time to embrace your destiny. He gestured toward the others, who stepped forward like wolves eager for their prey. You'll need to trust us. We have to get you out of here. But what about the others outside? Gabrielle asked, glancing at the darkened window. The figures danced in the storm, an unsettling reminder that whatever game these people were playing, she was still stuck in the middle of it. Focus, the leader snapped, his voice cutting through her thoughts. They cannot be trusted. Not now. Not ever. We have to leave now. Before she could protest, the door swung open with a resounding bang. Rainwater splashed inside, and a shadowy figure stumbled in, drenched and breathing heavily. Gabrielle's heart raced at the sight. Help! The figure gasped before collapsing to the floor. The leader's eyes blazed with fury as he pushed Gabrielle aside to address the newcomer. Why are you here? He demanded, bending down, his hands gripping the figure's shoulders. Gabrielle peered at the soaked figure lying there, realizing it was a woman, but she couldn't make out any details in the muted light. The woman's eyes were wide with panic. They're coming. We don't have much time. Thunder rumbled ominously, vibrating through the very bones of the building. The wind howled louder, throwing rain against the walls like a frenzied animal. Who's coming? Gabrielle's voice rose above the storm, desperation creeping in. What do you mean? The leader turned sharply, his expression twisting into a snarl. Enough with the games. You think I want to waste my time on strays? Wait! Gabrielle shouted, anger surging within her. She might know something. We need to listen. But the leader's patience was worn thin. He dragged the woman to her feet, glaring at her. You've jeopardized everything. If you want to die, that's your choice, but I want to have it on my hands. Stop! Gabrielle yelled again, feeling her heart pound, fear mingling with fierce determination. We have to work together. If not for me, then for her. His eyes narrowed, weighing her words. When he finally released the woman, he turned back to Gabrielle, an unexpected fury simmering within him. You think your involvement means you can change anything? You're out of your depth, girl. As the woman steadied herself, she looked between them, her breathing still unsteady. They're coming for you too, she warned, her voice tinged with urgency. The storm is just a distraction. They know where you are. What? Gabrielle's heart sank as dread filled her veins. Leave! The leader ordered, his voice a growl. We don't have the luxury of discussion. No, Gabrielle said firmly, taking a step forward. I want to just run away, not when there's a chance I can find out more. I need to understand it's my family's legacy we're talking about. The leader's anger flared, but the other woman's gaze bore into Gabrielle, a flicker of respect gleaming in her eyes. Your family. You don't even know what's waiting for you. You won't understand until it's too late. Gabrielle trembled. They wanted her to fight, but against whom? And was this really about unlocking truth, or was it merely the beginning of a far darker journey? Before she could ponder further, the door slammed shut, blinding light illuminating the room from behind it. A loud crash outside made the walls vibrate, and in that moment, Gabrielle realized that choosing to stay could cost her everything. Let us go, she finally whispered, feeling the storm roar in agreement. The echoes of an uncertain past and a volatile future stitched into her very being. Together, they all had something to gain. Or lose. But as they turned to leave, she couldn't shake the feeling that something more sinister waited just beyond the threshold. What if the truth was more than she bargained for? Would it all unravel her life completely? The door creaked open, revealing a blinding flash of lightning that illuminated the room for just a moment. Gabrielle squinted, raising her hand to shield her eyes. As the illumination faded, she caught a glimpse outside. Figures moved in the swirling storm, darting back and forth like shadows playing hide-and-seek with fate. We need to move. The leader barked, urgency etching lines across his forehead. Now, Gabrielle felt the weight of the moment. Every second felt like sand slipping through her fingers. No, we can't just leave that woman behind. She couldn't let fear paralyze her judgment. We don't have time. He was edging closer, fierce but also frightened. The drenched woman gasped, their eyes locking for a brief moment. Listen to her, she whispered, I can't go back. Her voice broke, fear spilling from her as she clutched at Gabrielle's sleeve. They'll find us. They always do. Each word dug into Gabrielle's heart. She wrapped her fingers around the key in her pocket, the cold metal grounding her amidst the rising tide of panic. What do you mean they will find us? The leader scoffed, frustration boiling over. This isn't a game. We can't afford any more distractions. Shut up. Gabrielle shot back, surprising even herself. Stop treating us like pawns. I'm not leaving anyone behind. I can't bear the thought of this being about my family's legacy, while an innocent woman suffers. The room fell silent, tension tightening like a coiled spring. The leader stared at her, calculating, weighing her words. The storm outside was roaring, but inside, all Gabrielle could hear was the thudding of her own heartbeat. Do you really think you can change anything? He finally said, his voice low and slow, almost conspiratorial. What you don't understand is that this goes far beyond your family. It's a war. A war? Gabrielle repeated, bewilderment flooding her mind. What are you talking about? The drenched woman's voice cracked, pulling her attention back. They want your blood, she said, looking into Gabrielle's eyes with an intensity that sent shivers down her spine. It's about power bloodlines. And yours is ancient. Lightning cracked against the sky outside, illuminating the room in a stark white glow. Gabrielle's breath hitched, a chill creeping along her spine. The weight of her family's legacy pressed down on her like a lead cloak. No, my family was just ordinary. Just a normal life in Alaska. Normal? The leader scoffed, his tone laced with disbelief. That's the illusion, girl. And true or not, they've hunted your kind for generations. Just then, a deafening crash erupted outside, and the entire building trembled like it was about to collapse. Fear wrapped itself around Gabrielle's chest, squeezing tighter. What was that? Time's up, the leader said sharply, his voice barely audible over the ringing thunder. We go now. Every instinct screamed for her to run, but Gabrielle felt the pull of her history, of the truth begging to be unearthed. Wait. If this is about my family, if I have to stand and fight, then so be it. What if I unlock something that changes everything? The drenched woman nodded, eyes wide with urgency echoing Gabrielle's own determination. You need to know. You have to understand before it's too late. With a final heavy glance exchanged with the leader, the door creaked open again, revealing darkness so thick it felt tangible. What will we find out there? Gabrielle whispered, her breath catching in her throat. Everything, the leader answered, steeling himself. And perhaps the end of your ordinary life. As they stepped into the storm, a chilling thought laced through Gabrielle's mind. What if the danger lurking in the shadows was something she had shared blood with? They dashed into the night, with questions burning in her mind like wildfire. Would uncovering the truth lead her to power or to her downfall? The storm surrounded them, wind howling like a banshee, rain lashing against their faces. Gabrielle's heart raced. Every drop felt like a whisper from the shadows, warning her of the darkness that lay ahead. The leader gripped her arm as they stumbled into the thick of the tempest, eyes scanning the shadows dancing between the flickers of lightning. Stay close, he commanded, his voice strained but firm. The drenched woman followed behind, her breath ragged, each inhalation a reminder of the terror they faced. Which way? Gabrielle shouted over the storm, breath condensing in the cold air. He paused, glaring into the chaotic night, then pointed toward an indistinct outline barely visible against the swirling gray. The warehouse. It's an old safe house. We'll have a better chance of figuring things out there. With each step, her thoughts raced. An old safe house? What kind of secrets was hidden there? With a shiver, the gruesome tales her grandmother had whispered in hushed tones returned to her. Bloodlines, curses, and the inexplicable. Could they be true? We can't just run blindly into a trap. Gabrielle protested, the fear swelling within her again. What if they do? You want to find out the truth or not? He snapped, urgency flaring in his eyes. This isn't just an adventure, Gabrielle. It's survival. She swallowed hard, the implications of his words crashing into her like the waves battering the shoreline. Survival, but at what cost? And then there was the woman behind her, clinging to hope. Gabrielle turned, catching the woman's gaze. What's your name? Marissa, she whispered, her hands trembling. Please, I don't want to go back. I can't. They'll use me. The weight of Marissa's anxiety was palpable, a raw truth that twisted something deep within Gabrielle. She nodded, determination sparking within her. Whether or not she was ready, the time had come to face the blood that tied her to this nightmare. As they reached the warehouse, the door groaned open on rusted hinges, revealing a cavernous space cloaked in shadows. The smell of damp wood and decay invaded their senses. Gabrielle stepped inside and her heart sank. Broken crates littered the floor, dust motes dancing in the sparse light filtering through cracks in the walls. It felt abandoned, yet the air soaked with an unshakable tension. What if this is a trap? Marissa whispered, eyes darting nervously. I have to know, Gabrielle replied, her voice steadier than she felt. We can't run forever, can we? Whatever is out there will eventually find us. The leader shifted, scanning the room. Keep your voices down, he warned. They could be listening. Gabrielle felt an icy chill grip her heart. They were no longer just running from storm or rain. They were dodging something far more sinister. She touched the key again, its coldness oddly comforting amidst the dread. Suddenly, a loud crash echoed faintly from somewhere deep inside the warehouse. Gabrielle's chest tightened. What was that? The leader nodded toward a door at the far end, the wood weathered and barely intact. We might not be alone. We need to check it out. Stay behind me. As they cautiously made their way forward, the shadows danced around them, whispering secrets Gabrielle long feared to uncover. With every step, the weight of her family's hidden past wrapped around her like a vice, squeezing tighter with each heartbeat. What shocking truths awaited on the other side of that door? With a heavy breath, the leader pushed the door open. As the hinges creaked, a haunting figure emerged from the depths of the darkness. Gabrielle's heart raced. Was this the answer she sought? Or the culmination of her worst nightmares? And right before her mind could settle, a raspy voice echoed through the warehouse, sending a jolt of ice through her veins. You've come looking for answers, but are you ready for the truth? The chilling words hung in the air, heavy and foreboding. Would she truly be able to grasp what she was about to unveil? The certainty of fear nipped at her heels, daring her to take the next step deep into the shadows. They stepped further into the unknown. Gabrielle clutched the key tighter, the weight of ancestral ghosts entwined with her fate. There was no turning back now. What awaited them would forever alter her destiny. But would it be enough to face the wrath of the past? The warehouse whispered back, but with it echoed a scream of challenge. Gabrielle had to decide. Would she keep digging? Or would the storm finally consume her? The figure stepped closer, shrouded in shadows yet unmistakably human. Gabrielle squinted, trying to make sense of the brightness bleeding through the darkness. The raspy voice that had sent shivers through her spine softened, its tone eerily soothing. You've come to find out what you truly are. Who are you? Gabrielle stammered, dread tightening around her throat like a noose. The figure emerged fully into the flickering light, revealing a weathered face, deep lines etched into the skin, eyes filled with an ancient wisdom that crackled like static. I am a keeper of the truth, of the blood that flows through your veins. A jolt passed through Gabrielle. Blood? Was this stranger aware of the legacy her grandmother had hinted at? It felt like every heartbeat echoed louder, like a countdown to something horrific. What do you mean? I don't understand. Her breath hitched, panic clawing at her. Your family's past is stained with choices, Gabrielle, the keeper continued, voice gaining intensity. Curses bred from betrayal and a darkness that hungers for its due. You already sense it, don't you? Marissa gasped softly, inching closer to Gabrielle as if drawn by some unseen force. With a flicker of lightning outside, Gabrielle caught a glimpse of Marissa's wide eyes, brimming with fear. The leader stood a few paces back, vigilant but visibly trembling. Gabrielle's fingers curled tighter around the cold key, anxiety swirling through her like a tempest. What choices? She demanded, desperation creeping into her tone. What must I do? Those who hide from the truth will always be haunted. The keeper's voice dropped to a low hiss, sending chills down Gabrielle's spine. You must embrace the darkness within. You need to understand what you're truly fighting against. Is this about the storm? Gabrielle asked, glancing at the door through which they entered. Echoes of thunder rumbling through the warehouse. What is out there? Is it the curse? More than that, the keeper pronounced, stepping even closer. There are forces at play that want to reclaim their own. You are the key that binds this story. Without you, the cycle continues. A sharp breath escaped Gabrielle, her mind racing. She felt a shift inside, a connection, perhaps to her family's past, or to whatever hidden truth this keeper was hinting at. What do I need to do? You'll know soon enough. The keeper leaned in, voice barely above a whisper. But trust your instincts. This is not just about survival. It's about breaking the cycle. Thunder rumbled ominously, and the atmosphere grew colder, the shadows lengthening like claws reaching out. Gabrielle sensed time slipping away. I want answers. Now. Without warning, the keeper stepped back, merging into the dark once more. The shadows swallowed him whole, but not before he threw back one last cryptic line: your destiny lies behind that door. Heart pounding, Gabrielle turned toward the exit, her resolve sharpening. Was it a gamble to keep pursuing the truth? Fear coiled within her, battling against a resolute fire ignited by determination. We need to go, the leader urged, eyes darting nervously around. If we don't, but Gabrielle couldn't hear him. Her mind raced with questions, echoing against the walls. She felt the anchor of her family's history pulling her toward that door, a magnetic force drawing her into a tide of revelations. The keeper's words rattled through her: your destiny lies behind that door. No, Gabrielle replied firmly, drawing in a deep breath. We can't leave here without knowing. As she stepped toward the door, the shadows grew darker, almost alive. A growl echoed from the depths of the warehouse, raw and feral. The chilling sound sliced through the tension. What was that? Marissa's voice trembled. Gabrielle paused, swallowing a lump in her throat. They had to find out. But at what cost? The shadows thickened and the air turned electric. What lay behind that door? Options faded as dread seeped in again, warning her to finalize her choice. Would they brave whatever lay in the darkness, or would fear freeze them in place? The door stood ajar, beckoning. Fortune and despair danced on the precipice of the unknown, daring Gabrielle to choose, and just then, the door creaked wider, revealing a burst of light. An otherworldly shape surged forward, and time hung suspended. Would the truth set her free? Or would it shackle her deeper in the horrors of her past? With her heart racing, Gabrielle stepped forward, ready to face whatever emerged from the shadows. The moment Gabrielle stepped into the light, the world around her shifted. The air felt thick, almost viscerally alive, brimming with energy and urgency. Shadows danced behind her, whispering warnings, but she couldn't turn back now. Not when the unknown lay just ahead. The light was blinding at first, radiating from a figure cloaked in a white mist. As her eyes adjusted, something or someone emerged. It was a woman, her face beautiful yet haunting, with long dark hair cascading like a waterfall of ink. The intensity of her gaze swept over Gabrielle, piercing through her like a dart. You've arrived, the woman said, her voice echoing as if originating from a deep well. You've come to confront the truth. Who are you? Gabrielle stuttered, feeling an unsettling familiarity with this stranger. I am your ancestor, the woman replied, the keeper of the legacy that runs through your veins. I have been waiting for you. Gabrielle blinked and her heart raced. What do you mean? What legacy? The ancestor's expression softened. The legacy of a curse, churning darkness through generations. Each choice, each moment has tethered you to it, and now you must face what was meant to be confronted long ago. A wave of memories flooded Gabrielle's mind, her grandmother's whispers about things best left unspoken, the family gatherings heavy with awkward silence, the aura of something sinister lurking just behind the curtain. Is this curse what's causing the storm? Why is it haunting us? The woman stepped forward, the mist swirling as she moved. The storm is a manifestation of the darkness. Seeks you, Gabrielle. Your bloodline holds power, potential to break the cycle. But in order to do so, you must reclaim what has been lost. The dread that had knotted in Gabrielle's stomach now morphed into a fierce determination. She understood now. The confrontation didn't just involve her, it was a reckoning for her entire family. How do I break it? She pressed, desperation fueling her words. Turn, face the darkness you fear. Embrace it, understand its roots. There's more to your legacy than you know. Hidden truths waiting to be unveiled. The ancestors' eyes shimmered, revealing flickers of dreams and nightmares. But be warned, Gabrielle, what you uncover might be more than you can bear. Are you ready to carry the weight? Gabrielle's breath caught in her throat. The fear that had gripped her transformed into a flicker of courage. She felt the shadows swirling around her, the growls nearby intensifying, resonating like a war drum. Yes, I must know. I can't run from this anymore. The ancestor nodded solemnly. Then listen closely. Beyond this realm lies a door that reveals your family's past. You must uncover their sins, confront the betrayals that forged this curse. Only through that journey can you find the key to sever its hold. Suddenly, a shuddering growl erupted behind them, reverberating through the walls. Panic sparked in Marissa's eyes, her voice trembling. "Gabrielle, we have to go. Now." "No," Gabrielle snapped. Not without understanding. She turned back to her ancestor, whose expression was a mixture of pride and sorrow. "Hold fast to your heart, Gabrielle. Remember, you are not alone. The shadows may whisper, but your strength will guide you. You can do this." As she absorbed those words, a blinding flash of lightning surged outside, illuminating the warehouse in bursts of fiery light. Gabrielle glimpsed the door the ancestor had spoken of, now glowing defiantly. "Behind that door lies not only your family's past, but the salvation for your future," the woman insisted, her voice laced with urgency. "What will you choose?" In that moment, Gabrielle felt the gravity of her decision press down on her. Fear clashed with hope as she stood at the crossroads of destiny. Would she take that leap? With one last glance at her ancestor, Gabrielle clenched her fist around the key, determination igniting a flame within her. She stepped toward the blazing door, drawn by a force stronger than the shadows, an irrevocable pull toward the truth that awaited as she turned the handle. A deafening roar erupted behind her, and in that instant, she knew the battle had begun. Would she have the courage to face the horrors lurking within? Or would the secrets of her past consume her whole? As Gabrielle laid her trembling hand on the door's handle, a chill swept through the air, threatening to extinguish the flickering light of her resolve. Behind her, the growls intensified, primal sounds of a darkness hunting for its prey. No turning back now. She was on the precipice of a truth that could redefine everything. With a deep breath that felt like a silent vow, she pushed the door open. Light poured out, spilling into the warehouse like golden water, illuminating the shadows that had long haunted her family. The outside world roared with fury as thunder crashed, but within the divine brightness, fear began to dissipate. Gabrielle stepped through the threshold, feeling a rush of warmth envelop her. Before her stood a room unlike any she had ever seen. Ancient relics whispered tales of her ancestors, their stories lingering in the air like smoke. Old portraits hung on the walls, faces staring back at her, eyes filled with sorrow and wisdom. Familiar yet distinct, the figures called to her senses. A voice echoed in her mind. "Remember who you are." Guided by instinct, she moved deeper into the radiant chamber. With every step, it felt as though the room was bear-hugging her, coaxing her to unveil the mysteries hidden within these walls. And there, set upon a pedestal, lay an ornate box adorned with intricate carvings, gleaming in the soft light as if beckoning her closer. "Everything leads to this." Her ancestors' words echoed in her mind. "You must confront the sins woven into the fabric of your family." With a shiver of anticipation, Gabrielle approached the box, heart pounding. This was the moment that could either shatter the shackles of her lineage or plunge her deeper into despair. She gently tugged at the lid, and the box creaked open. Inside lay documents yellowed with age, letters, names, and histories. A journal rested there as well, its leather cover worn and cracked, whispering secrets of the past. Gabrielle felt an impulse to reach for it, a calling she couldn't ignore. With trembling fingers, she picked it up, and as she opened its pages, a surge of emotion blasted through her like a tidal wave. Every swept word overflowed with pain, betrayal, and a yearning for redemption. This was her family's legacy, powerful and corrupt, a festering wound that had been passed down without resolution. Gabrielle's breath hitched as she pieced together the narratives that unfolded. Decisions made in fear had sealed her bloodline's fate, and with each revelation, a fire ignited within her. But that fire came at a price. As she absorbed the weight of their choices, shadows began creeping toward her, drawn like moths to the flame of truth. The growls intensified, now right at her heels, signaling the darkness that hungered for her legacy. "Gabrielle." Marissa's voice broke through the roaring chaos of her thoughts. "You have to hurry. We have to leave before they find us." The leader stood at the doorway, panting with urgency. "This isn't just about learning. We need to act. They're coming." Her heart raced. The realization thudded relentlessly. They were hunting not just for her but for the power buried within her heritage, the potential to either kill or reclaim what had been lost. She had to decide: flee with the knowledge or harness it and fight. "I will not run again." With a surge of determination, she clutched the journal, her eyes wide with conviction. This ends now. The curse ends with me. As she stepped back from the box, a thunderous explosion rattled the warehouse, filling the air with dust and panic. Shadows skittered closer, pouring into the chamber, and in those desperate moments, Gabrielle knew she couldn't shield herself with knowledge alone. She had to turn fear into strength. Marissa, we're standing strong together whatever that darkness wants. It will not take me without a fight. The shadows recoiled, as if sensing the fierce light radiating from her words. The leader locked eyes with her, respect mingled with disbelief. You really believe you can face what's coming? We have to try. Gabrielle shouted, heart racing. This is my family's legacy, and it grows within me. In that moment, she took her place among her ancestors, knowing she was not just a vessel of their past, but a pivotal force in their future. Gabrielle raised the journal high, almost as if it were a beacon of hope against the surge of shadows. We claim our truth. We are not bound by the darkness of betrayal. With renewed confidence, the shadows recoiled as if struck by her defiance. They hesitated, fear radiating from them as she continued. The energy in the room crackled, the journal vibrating with hidden power as the weight of generations, their stories, and their pain erupted into a dazzling light. Together, she urged, looking back at Marissa and the leader. We're not alone. As they joined hands, the pulsating energy soared, enveloping them, merging their strengths into a formidable force. Together they faced the encroaching storm, a bold front against the dark grasp of their shared history and that sacred moment. Gabrielle understood the key. It wasn't just the metal in her pocket or the burden of a curse passed down. It was their unity, ignited by the flame of truth. They stood together, footsteps echoing against past sins, ready to confront the darkness with purpose, and to reclaim their right to the future. Let us end this, Gabrielle cried out, voices blending together as the light from the journal surged, exploding outward in waves of luminous defiance. With one final roar, the darkness recoiled, and in a crescendo of lightning and thunder, the air exploded as the shadows bowed to the rising power of truth. When the echo of that power vanished, they stood transformed, no longer victims, but warriors of their own fate. The storm outside raged, but Gabrielle felt a new warmth bloom within her. She was free, they were free. And as she stepped into the light, embracing the dawn of a new chapter, Gabrielle knew her story was only just beginning. Now you need to subscribe immediately to the channel, so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. This is the moment to show your support. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about this ending, because your thoughts matter. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. Let them be part of the journey too.